Okay, Scooter Tramps and Chopper Jockeys, it's 9 p.m. on the East Coast. That means it's time for another episode of Shop Talk. I'm your host, Chris Callen. We are coming to you live proudly from the Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorney Studio here every week with Shop Talk. We bring you 90 to 120 minutes, all the bullshit we can fit. A little bit of news, a little bit of entertainment, some jocularity, and speaking of that, right off to my left here is Brother Mark in the house. What's up, buddy?
That's your right. That's not your left.
That's
Get
my
it
right.
straight.
Well, looking at the screen, it's my left.
We're not looking at the screen.
Huh?
Get it straight.
I'm looking at the screen. That's my job here. So, kind of a lame week in motorcycling as far as news goes. You know, I think everybody's kind of overwhelmed from last week's news with Jesse and, you know, the conditions being rough at Bonneville.
Last week was a big week.
Yeah, last week was rough, man, but we're going to muddle through anyway. We are coming to you live. On top of being in the Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorney's studio live, we're live at the Blue Ridge Run.
That's a whole truckload of live.
I know, right? Live.
We are live.
But we're coming to you live from the Cherokee Blue Ridge Run. Lots of stuff going on here this weekend. The Pirouettes Paint Show. We're throwing a bike show. Wall of Death is here. Circus Una. Tons of great bands.
Bands. A whole bunch of riding. Whole bunch of riding. Great place
around
to
the
go
clock.
ride.
We have the pleasure, since we're right here and we have access to so many great people with the AMD builders in the house. We're going to be bringing you a lot of guests from that end. But I think the first thing to remind you guys is that Shop Talk comes out every week through your help with you sharing and all the links and everything. But we also want you to be part of this show. So don't just sit there and be an observer. As you can see off to the side, we have all your comments coming up, and we'll get to them as much as we can throughout the show live. Heather's right there, and she's monitoring the social media as we go.
I am. There's a bunch of people here. We've confused a lot of people, though, because first we said it was Thursday, and then it was going to be Sunday, and now we're here on Thursday.
Yeah, we should tell everybody about that. So we're trying some experiments here between Thursday and Sunday. For a long time now, almost a year and a half, we've been pretty consistent with Thursday, but we did a couple Sunday shows, man, and the numbers were off the hook. So it seems like Sunday is the jam that you guys want to get down with when it comes to Shop Talk.
And when you'd asked that Sunday, they're all like, yeah, Sunday
Yeah.
for sure. I mean, the majority of the people I think, wanted Sunday more than Thursday.
You sound kind of rough today.
It's been a long day.
Huh?
It's been a rough day.
Well, we left
Lot of
our house
driving.
at like 3 a.m. Well, we left
I
our
left
house
once.
3.
You guys
No, we
left
left
a few
3 times.
Yeah. You guys have Hey, I'll tell you what, though. It's getting a lot better because it was always, we're leaving at 3 in the afternoon, and that means we're leaving 2 days later at noon.
Yeah.
So there was like, you almost had to do the math. We're getting way better. We actually left. I was at Sheets at 3. So
it was on the same day.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
that's
Same day
amazing.
we planned on it. That's super rare for us.
Nevertheless, so that's all the stuff we're going to get to here tonight. That's everything I can tell you about Shop Talk at this moment.
We're done already?
No. We're just getting to the part where I say, usually we start this thing off with a little bit we call the news. First up in the news this week, Indian Motorcycle Company, as most of the big manufacturers, launching their 2020 lineup. This as it pertains to the Scout motorcycle family. Couple other news sites have commented that there's 2 new motorcycles in this lineup. And
Yeah.
okay.
Wait, there's one new motorcycle.
Well, there's a 100th anniversary, so that's going to, have appropriate badging and stuff. There's this thing they're calling the Indian Scout Bobber 20, the Indian Scout Bobber, the Indian Scout 60, and the Indian Scout. Really, I can only see the difference in, like, some handlebars, the seat.
So they came out with one bike.
Yeah.
Good for them.
So
Did they come out with a snowmobile?
No. Hey, man, bring back the papoose. You really want to blow people's minds? Right? There you go. You want to put something on the table, baby. Let's see the papoose. I want to jump out of an airplane with a motorcycle.
Yeah, that's
do
right.
some shit.
Yeah, and make it.
Talk about youth demographic outreach. Come on.
I'm landing this bitch.
All right. Moving on. This is actually exciting from
Yes,
manufacturing. Coming in from Road Racing World, Yamaha's VMAX returning in 2020. That's right. Fastest production bike for over a decade, the first time it released. Then even when it came back out for that limited run for the anniversary.
Look at that picture. It just looks complicated.
Yeah.
You know?
And, you know, of course, we were talking to Jay Allen about this earlier, one of our first guests up tonight. And the first thing Jay wants to know is, what's the torque and horsepower? And sure enough, man, there's nothing in this that tells you. I mean,
and then
it tells
he tells
you,
us he still has his.
Yeah, right. So it tells you it's a 65-degree, 1679cc V4 engine.
Still don't give you the information.
Astonishing yet controllable acceleration is achieved throughout a broad range of power.
Somebody got paid to write that.
Damn, that's a lot of good words right there.
That's freaking real right there.
Anyway, we'll have an eye out for it because I'm sure it'll be fun. If you've ever been dumb enough to pull up next to one of these things on your Harley Davidson and shoot your mouth off,
get a full mate of you,
you'll know it. Trust me.
Those things were rockets, boy.
All right, moving on again. Motorcycle Tour returns to downtown Johnson City this weekend, right up the road from where we're at here at the Cherokee Blue Ridge Run at the Cherokee Fairgrounds. There's a reconstituted version of what was formerly known as the Hot Bike Tour, now called the Build to Ride Tour.
The Geico Built to Ride Tour.
Geico Built. Thank you for correcting me.
Well, it's our friends at Geico. We have to give them a little support.
You know, basically same premise as what you've come to expect from that show. Bunch of builders terrassing around the country. They stop in different cities.
There was a house on fire and then pictures.
I was like, your dad was on my computer again, right?
That event is so hot it burns the houses now.
All right, well. So if you want more news about that, you can go to the Geico Motorcycle Built to Ride Tour 2019.
A lot of cool little shows coming up.
Yeah. You know what? Honestly, like this time of year, this used to be like the lull. Like when things finished from Sturgis, everybody kind of went into and there was a few things that ended out the year, but it was pretty much over after Sturgis. Now, Jesus, we got 10 events to talk about today just on this show.
Yeah, and they're bringing back that little event, which is huge whenever it comes to the local business and the local people. That's to me, I think that's one of the coolest things about some of this stuff coming up. So,
what do you got on social media there, Blondie?
Well, I think we were gonna save this to the end, but there's a lot of comments about it. Everybody loves my hat.
Will
and
they be? Wait,
I don't usually wear hats on the show, but
a little bit more.
Sorry, they're fixing my camera. I don't usually wear hats on the show.
There you go.
But I didn't have time to put makeup on. And again, we left our house at 3 o'clock this morning.
Hey, I put makeup on. You could have.
And actually, Hot Leathers is doing our new line of Cycle Source gear. And this is one of the new products that I ordered over the weekend. Don't tell Andy that I ordered it.
Shameless plug, though.
But it is a shameless plug because it's hiding my mess. And it's a super cool hat. So thank you, everybody.
Wait a minute. I'm going to take everybody while you're talking about it. Hot Leathers, man, I can't say enough about this company. I mean, you guys know them.
Awesome.
And you guys know them for bringing you the official rally shirts at almost every big rally across the country. But at the beginning of the year, they signed on to do our complete apparel line now for Cycle Source magazine. And, man, like some of the designs and stuff, they're just cool killing it. And let's face it, anyone who's done business with me about T-shirts and shit before, you have no idea when you're going to get your T-shirt if you're waiting for me, because not only do I have to print the shit, I have to go to the mailbox and put it in. Now, Andy's guys just take care of this, man. So the minute you put an order in, it's going out. You're getting the stuff that you're asking for. He's doing way more killer designs than we were ever going to do. So we can't thank him enough for that. That's my shameless plug. All right, well, first up for the night, longtime friend of the magazine and me personally. This man, when I first started into the national scene, even before
friend of everybody. Who do you know that doesn't know him?
Even before, but I want to tell my story. Let's talk about
me.
Let's talk about me.
Heather.
When I first started into this thing, man, like honestly, no place to sleep when I would get to a joint. Nothing to eat, nothing to really do. He would always make me part of everything, always give me a spot to crash if I needed it. And he did that for me. And it was like he raised a whole orphanage of wayward motorcycle people of my generation.
Yeah, I remember whenever the second, third floor got put on, we were sleeping on all the couches all around the Broken Spoke. You remember that?
So, ladies and gentlemen, help me by putting your hands together and welcome Mr. Jay Allen to the show tonight.
It's good to be here.
Jay, It is always great to talk to you, but especially this time of year when you're just coming back off of the salt, man. And this year, I couldn't wait to talk to you because I knew about the shit conditions you guys were in, and I know out of everybody there, I've been to Bonneville with you. I know that no matter, like, you're not just going to walk off the salt just because it's a bad day.
No, you're gonna make the best out of a bad situation, and that's what me and a lot of other riders did.
Yeah, and it was rough out there.
Oh my God.
So let's start with the fact that you do Speed Week and Bonneville Motorcycle Speed Trials back to back.
Absolutely.
So this is one long proposition for you. So starting with Speed Week, the conditions were even worse than the motorcycle guys faced.
It rained the day before Speed Week, and somebody dug a post hole, and it was saturated like 3 inches from the surface. It was just terrible. The timing couldn't have been worse, and so we had 3 days of just waiting. They went out there, groomed a course, and the line was super, super long. But again, everybody's waited a year, so here they are. I mean, streamliners, God knows what they're worth. Everybody's lined up ready to go on a bad course.
Yeah.
And I did it too. Yeah, I had to ride.
A lot of time and money people put into that.
Absolutely. So, there weren't very many records. Some of the slower stuff was able to hook it up, but I mean, people doing spin outs in cars over 200 miles an hour backwards through the timing lights, and but again, the family comes together, and I got to give a big shout out to the SCTA for trying to give them a course, and all the volunteers. I mean, it is so much dedication to make this happen.
Oh, those people work their asses
to
off.
bring a city out on a bare piece of salt. God bless them, man, and they tried hard. It was just one of those years. It's like farming. It's Mother Nature.
Yeah, right.
Now you were telling me, and a couple times we've talked about this already before the show, about some of the cars that were going through the mile backwards, spinning out, and I mean it was really a scary situation.
Several motorcycle crashes. They quit counting the spin outs of the cars, and the pull outs it was off the chart. But it's just good to get back to Bonneville. Yeah, I'm still wearing, look at this.
Yeah.
I still got my driver tag on. This is my work suit. I still got the buzz going on. I can't give it
He's
up
the
yet.
cleanest thing at this whole event right now. Just to let everybody know. Like when he walked around the corner, there was no lights outside, and there was a glow around him. So yeah, he's like so clean, it's crazy.
So that brings up something, man, because there's the new logo right on your chest pocket there, One Feather Racing, right?
One Feather Racing.
Let's talk about that for a minute, because that kind of culminates all back to where we are this weekend, and and the Cherokee people and everything. So tell a little story about that.
Well, the Blue Ridge Run, any of you that have never been back in the Carolinas, this is probably some of the best riding, not just in our country, but I'd say planet Earth.
Yeah.
And when I found out how this rally was coming together, and the philosophy behind it. And Mark, you talked about some small rallies.
Yeah.
This is one of those rallies that are built with a solid foundation of guys like Dave Perowitz and Pete Hills coming in here and the Wall of Death and all the things that if you were an educator, you wanted to teach somebody how this started. We've got all the ingredients that make it what it became, how it became to where Sturgis evolved to.
Yeah.
And that's what this is about, and I believe in it. I mean, if you want beautiful riding, we got it. As an event,
I'll tell you the
it's
other
happening.
cool thing I like about this. Riders come in drones. Like, they come in a big pack of them, come hang out, walk around,
I'm
get something
Tyler
to
with
eat,
Lowbrow
have a beer,
Customs.
watch a band.
I wanted
get
to
in the
talk
bike
to
and
you
Absolutely.
about
and then they
the
come and do it
scholarship
again.
that we
The
created
next
in
drone
2018
comes, and it,
for the Lincoln Electric Club.
group of them come in.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. It's like you don't see the same people over and over. But I agree. It's very nostalgic, old school kind of event, which makes it so awesome.
So I believe in this event, and I want to be an ambassador for this event. But One Feather Racing isn't just land speed racing. Now they're going to have dirt track racers. They're going to have motocross racers. This is a division that is going to have all forms of racing. So to be a part of it, I'm proud of that. And also the Cherokee.
To be a part of it, you're breaking records. I mean, not
Oh yeah,
only are you a
but
part
that's
of it,
my part.
Yeah.
And Lord willing, I'm going to keep
you're
breaking
doing
records.
a great
right?
job at that.
But, the Cherokee, they've got a serious concern about keeping their language alive. It's really important. And to celebrate, their writing. And again, at my age, I want to do something with meaning. I want to go out there and make them proud that we're setting all kinds of records under One Feather Racing. But also, I want to make people aware that their youth need to wake up and listen to their elders and learn how to keep this
Right.
tradition alive. And to be a part of that wave, I'm proud of it. I really am.
And it's a shame because a
good
lot of
stuff.
that culture has gone away all over the place.
They're
you know?
freaking out.
To-
It is.
yeah.
They're dying every
to
day.
pull it back from one of the oldest groups of people is pretty
and
awesome.
it's funny too, because for some of the people that might not be, of our generation, the baby boomers before us, the name of the bike is Code Talker.
Absolutely.
And just in that, like talking
Yep.
about the language and like, what that has meant to the history of our country.
Our country, you're right.
You know what I mean? Like a lot of people might not even know that story.
Well, in World War I, they were the code talkers.
Right.
I always knew the Navajo were in World War II, but in World War I, it was the Cherokee. And I also read that the Native Americans in general, like when they go back to World War II and stuff, they were some of your best warriors. I mean, when you talk about leaders reaching out and saying, I want to bring in some special soldiers to pull off this mission,
Yeah.
a lot of them were Native Americans. They're an incredible culture with an incredible history, and I have nothing but the utmost respect for them, and I love to be associated with them.
And look, they survived in the elements. I mean, back
Oh.
in the day, there was nothing. They didn't have any. They literally lived in the elements like deer.
But you know what? Today it's in their
crazy.
blood. It's
Oh,
in their
yeah.
it's in their DNA, and they still have it.
Yep.
They're an incredible culture.
So let's talk for a minute about starting off with Speed Week for you. Take us a run at a time, because this is, and I should mention this to everybody else, this is after a year that this man probably got to run on the most ideal conditions that anyone's ever seen at Bonneville. Completely hard,
Absolutely.
smooth salt last year, and he was racking up the records like he was picking up dimes off the sidewalk.
Dustin King, my partner, and I landed 11 land speed world
that's
records last year.
crazy.
4 of them were world records. This year we show up to a slop course, and I make a pass. I'm doing somewhere in the low 200s, and I see the end of the timing mile, and I just go, what are you doing? And my front tire's just floating. I mean, I've got little angels up there. My mother and my grandfather going, Jay, come with us. Come with us to the other side. And I'm like, no, I don't want to go yet.
I'm not done. I'm not done.
And so I even decelerate about 100 yards from the time mile, and I averaged a 198, not knowing that was the fastest motorcycle of the whole event.
Yeah.
That's how bad the salt was. And so, then I had a game plan. I'm going to give it a day to cure, and the cars are tearing it up.
Yeah.
I mean, you got 2,000, 3,000, 4,000
Yeah,
horsepower.
that's it. Multiple things, multiple vehicles, cars, bikes run on this.
Oh,
Not just bikes.
Cars and bikes.
Yeah.
I mean, the car guys, they do respect the bike guys because they go, you are crazy
Yeah,
to
right.
ride 2 wheels on this. So anyway, I waited a whole day in that truck, moving up. And when I got to the front of the line, I backed off and said, I want to go out in the morning. So now I'm going to be the first bike off on a clean course. But there's one guy ahead of me, and his name is John Big Balls Noonan. Now, John Noonan is a badass. He has been over 200 miles an hour 300 times.
Yeah.
And he's such a competitor that if you piss him off, he will wipe you out of the record books.
Yeah.
And I watched John Noonan suited up ahead of me, and I went, here's the deal. If John goes 180 or faster and he completes the run, I'll go. But if he doesn't, I'm backing out. I don't want to die.
Right.
John Big Balls Noonan pulled off at 127 miles an hour, and I said, I'm going to pass on this, and I did not run.
Yeah.
And so that was it for my speed week, and a lot of other people. It was just very defeating, and it's just one of those years. But it's what makes last year so special, right?
Yeah.
Hey,
So that was speed week.
And then
Well-
makes you work harder for next year. So.
Absolutely, we are too.
Yeah.
There's another good longtime friend of the show, Tyler from Lowbrow.
Oh yeah.
He actually had some misfortune during Speed Week. He goes out to the Speed Week event, and you were there while he was in the middle of all that.
Well, Tyler came up to me and he says, what do you think about me running? And I said, well, there were 2 bikes that went into impound that were 152 or less. So what it told me is the lower horsepower bikes were actually, it was making them work. It was working a little bit. They were sticking and they were able to pull it off. And at 132 miles an hour, he caught a rut. I'm told he had a tank slapper and he crashed, and he had to get surgery. His arm's all messed up, and I felt terrible. Everybody was concerned about Tyler. He's such a great guy.
The risk is off the charts. I mean, hands down. So.
Oh yeah.
I mean, to go out there and do that, you're crazy in the first. We knew you were crazy in the first place. But you
But-
know what I
but
mean.
wait a minute.
But you're crazy in the first place.
Wait a minute. I gotta paint a picture for you, because just for anybody that might be thinking, well, why would you even do that? You when you finally get this salt fever, when you're finally there and you realize how incredible this thing is, and you finally work and get to the place where you're going to put a bike together and you're going to run, people wait for years and years. Like some of them a lifetime. They're waiting to be there, and they're there for that week. Like when you saw in the movie World's Fastest Indian, Burt Monroe making that whole process to get there that one time, and then
New Zealand.
Then they told him he couldn't ride. I mean, if the weather changes, if something breaks, I mean, when you're out there, if something breaks, you're out of the race. It's the end of a lifetime dream for a lot of people. You know what I mean? So it's not even just as simple as, well, just wait for a better pass. It might never come again.
Hey, a friend of mine came from Missouri, and they wouldn't let him run because he had the wrong tires, all the way from Missouri. I mean, he was heartbroken. Nothing we could do about it. We couldn't get him any other tires in time, and it's hardcore. And people from Japan, New Zealand, Australia, it is the mecca for speed. And to have a year like this, I can only imagine. I came from Arizona, and I was devastated.
Yeah,
crazy.
No, Jay, do you have a preference between Speed Week and BMST?
Absolutely. First off, I love them both, and anybody that likes bikes loves cars. But they do tear up the course really bad, and there's something about, I call it the Bubs event, but it's Bonneville Motorcycle Speed Trials. It's just bikes, and it is more family because we're all riders. We have that one thing in common. So I would say the BMST is the one I prefer of the two, but I really love them both. They're both family, and they're both home.
I mean, figure you definitely want to do the bike one solely for the fact that you have better chance of performing
the
better.
Course, whatever course you have, at least it's consistent. The bikes don't tear it up, and that's really huge. That's important.
Okay, hang on for a second, because we actually have someone providing a public service here. I don't know what this means, but GB7 CHI3 game update for those who don't want to leave the chat. Carlos Amador is apparently is there a special sporting event on tonight? Is that the deal? Am I missing it?
I don't
know.
But he's giving a game update. So anybody who wants to stick with the show. Hey, look, Jay, Mike Yorko's on. He says hi to Jay.
Hey, Mike, I love you, brother. We had a lot of fun with him at Speed Week.
Oh, dude, he's a trip,
he
right?
is a character.
I think I want to go to Speed Week just to say that I've been. I mean, I said that about Bubs, and I have to go back. Like, that was just it's
well, you almost did, right?
Yeah.
It's been a rough year.
Wow. Losers.
But
Losers.
like I said earlier, I think I'm a firm believer in that everything happens for a reason, and I really truly believe it, especially after hearing how the salt was. There's a reason that we did not make it.
You guys
Too many
screwed up
things
good
worked.
this year.
Yeah,
you got
exactly.
lucky.
That was a tragic year there too. So
so Carlos said football. So GB must be Green
Green
Bay.
Bay.
Oh, that's
Green
right.
Bay, Chicago.
Oh,
It's
okay.
the oldest,
What's the
oldest
score?
rivalry.
7. Well, let me go back. Can I go? Can I
Thank
go
you,
back?
Carlos.
Can I go back?
I knew Green Bay was playing, but I didn't know it's tonight.
Let's see.
7 Green Bay 7, Chicago 3.
There you go.
All right, keep the updates coming, Carlos.
But hey, back to Speed Week. Another cool thing for the cars, the first 2 nights, on the Friday and Saturday at the Nugget, they have a massive street rod show. And what's really cool, these people are driving these $100,000 street rods out on the salt. So that night at the show, I've got some imagery, Chris. I'll give it to you. You can show all your viewers.
Yeah.
They are the bad flatheads, big blocks, covered in salt. But it's the most amazing car show. So you would love Speed Week. It goes way, way back.
Hey, if you're going to build it and let it sit somewhere, why waste
Shame
your
on
time?
no,
You know what I mean?
they get out there and thrash them and bring them to the show. It's wonderful.
If you're going to build it, run it, play with it. Don't build something and let it sit there. That's
Amen.
a piece of art.
Hallelujah.
So a couple comments in. Kentucky misses you guys too. Hello from Morgantown. Billy J. Terry, worst salt in years from what I've seen.
Right on, Billy J.
Well, so let's move on to BMST and talk about, so what is there, a few days in between while they're changing over the organizations and getting ready for the motorcycle
Yeah,
guys?
you got about a week there, and man, I was really hoping that salt would cure, and it did a lot. And what was really cool, I jumped on my little FXR and went up into Idaho, and 5 hours out of Wendover, Nevada is a place called Stanley, Idaho, 39 degrees in the morning. with hot springs.
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah.
we
And
went there.
Did you go there?
On our honeymoon,
Oh
we
my
drove through
God!
there.
So then you know, but
we know exactly, and
yeah,
I think it was about that cold.
There's like 5 hot springs in a row.
Yes.
And then the river beside it.
Absolutely.
Dude, that's the best place
But
on the planet.
that was a great break, and then to come back, at least, you know what, we came back to a better course, and again, the cars weren't tearing it up. And, hey, and people went to impound. It wasn't a wash by any means. It was just frustrating because, again, we were spoiled last year. It was a great year.
Yeah.
But, hey, you know what? This is what's so cool about Bonneville. You have to challenge it. You have to overcome it. And a lot of people did, and my hat's off to them. If you went into impound, congratulations. I mean, I know we got a world record by 1 mile an hour, both, and there were only 10 world record holders out of 180 motorcyclists. So it was a tough year.
Right on, man. So let's talk a little bit more about what you're doing with One Feather Racing. So there's the Code Talker bike. Are there other bikes too? Are there other bikes that are in your arsenal that are not part of One Feather? Or what's the plans from here?
No, everything I do is dedicated to One Feather. The FXR is going to be coming back to life. We've got some big plans on changing Code Talker. We're keeping it a secret, but we have a brand new motorcycle we're coming out with next year. And Poor Man's Turbo is a monster. This motorcycle that I set a world record with, I never had it full throttle because I didn't want to blow it up over $7,000. But this thing is going to make epic speed next year. Lord willing, the salt is even better. Not perfect, but just better. So we've got a lot going on. And it's again, I'm already jacked for next year. I don't even think I'm going to take off these rider things. I mean, I'm ready.
Look who's here. I'm actually putting up on the screen your Facebook page so I can tell
Drew.
people. And Drew himself is here.
Drew, I love you, brother. Don't spend that $100 in one place.
I still have a note that I keep in the ashtray of my truck of my Sprinter that Drew gave me last year.
Oh, yeah, I
He gave
remember
me
it.
a little business card mark that said,
Get off your lazy
get
biker
off your
ass
lazy
and get to
biker ass
work.
and get to work, because I was like, I don't know if I want to speed wire all this shit and blah blah blah. And he's the guy that like runs tech, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he was like, get off your lazy biker ass and get to work.
I think you actually have the wrong Drew, but
No.
this is Drew Woodford.
Oh,
Okay.
my old eyes. I'm sorry.
Well, hey,
But
big
that's
shout out
okay.
to Drew Woodford too, and Ashley. That little gal not
I'm
only
sorry.
set records, but Ashley's. I was looking at her today on Facebook, and her riding position was just impeccable.
Wait,
I mean,
there's the other Drew on your
yeah,
page.
there's Drew right there. And I am a land speed racer. I love it. He is, man. He went out there and got himself a record, or maybe more than one.
Damn it.
But I know he got a record, and Ashley, I think 3 or something like
Yeah.
that. But she's really improved as a rider. Just to look at her, you can tell she's evolving, big time.
So Drew Gatewood. I'm
Drew
sorry.
Gatewood.
Yeah,
I'm-
that's
my-
okay.
my
They're both
apologies.
great Drews. We
Yeah.
like them both.
So, and Drew Gatewood, for those who are curious, he does the tech, and he will
He
tear
is
your
the
bike
inspector.
apart. He inspects everything.
And
But
he's your friend
Also,
until
he's
he
your
inspects
friend, but
you.
he's also a great musician. And
Yeah.
I just posted a link to his Bonneville song
Yeah.
that he sings at
Oh, yes.
at the Black and White. So he's a great guy.
Hey, also, back it up a little bit to the Bonneville Motorcycle Speed Trials. There's a Japanese guy by the name of Kaz, and last year he ran the electric bike and he crashed at 181 miles an hour. He messed his hand up, so he shows up this year with the same team, the same bike, but he couldn't ride it because of his hand from the crash last year. But I got to give a shout out to those guys. They got that electric bike over 200 miles an hour. A big contingency from Japan, and I love their energy. They're so excited to be there. And then Hero had some friends that had an identical body to Hero's. I know he inspired them, or he gave them I don't know how it worked, or maybe Hero even built the body for their bike, but they had a naturally aspirated Harley Davidson that sounded like a freight train that looked like a bullet. And they went like 197 miles an hour, world record, went into impound. And so a big shout out to all our friends from Japan. You guys killed it this year.
Right on. Well, listen, man, you can check Jay out on Facebook under Jay Allen. Keep track of what he's doing with Code Talker. I've known Jay for, God, as long as I've been in this game in the national
When
scene.
I had brown hair.
From the
and
beginning.
and man, like every year, what I can tell you is this cat couldn't wait till the end of the work year so he could get to Bonneville to do his thing, man.
And keep in mind, his work here, in a lot of senses, was to help a lot of people.
Yep.
I mean, he was always there for everybody, and God, we did some really dumb shit, and he backed us up. He came to play for us.
I knew you'd grow up.
Yeah, luckily it worked out. But yeah, we put him on the spot a lot of times, and I mean, don't get me wrong. It was a lot of work for us too, but. Not having his support.
None of you bastards ever had to get the talk where he said,
I'm
Chris,
disappointed in you.
I'm not mad at you. I'm just disappointed.
Yeah, well, we got like my mom used to give it. We got the look when he walked by.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah.
And I hate it. It's like spanking your daughter. I hated doing it, but you got to be a good parent. You got to do the right thing, and you got to confront the issue, right?
Yeah.
All right.
In all reality, the three of us wouldn't be sitting here together if it weren't
right.
for Jay. So
I'm on
It's
it.
your fault, Jay.
Yeah. Well, don't kill me, Heather, because I think you created a monster here.
All right. Well, listen, go check them out. More importantly, if you're in the area or can make it down to the Blue Ridge, the Cherokee Blue Ridge Run,
absolutely.
Come hang out with Jay. Come hang out with us.
Yes.
We're going to be here all weekend, man. You can ask him questions about One Feather Racing, the Code Talker bike. He can tell you all about Bonneville in person. Jay, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it.
Come and see me, you guys.
We're going to take 2 minutes here real quick and do some business for the show, and then we'll be right back to you guys with some more guests of the hour.
Hi, I'm Tyler with Lowbrow Customs. I wanted to talk to you about a new scholarship that we created in 2018 for the Lincoln Electric Welding School. So we created an endowment, which means that every year, forever, a $1,000 scholarship will be given out to one student in need who's going to attend the Lincoln Welding School. Lowbrow is located just outside of Cleveland, Ohio, and Lincoln Electric was founded here in 1895, and the welding school started shortly after in 1917. We think that's really cool, and we're happy and proud to have Lincoln as part of our local community. We feel that the Lowbrow Customs Welding School Scholarship is a great way to offer support to the Midwest, make it a better place, and also to support U.S. manufacturing of all sorts. Potentially creating a person that will work to help supply Lowbrow with parts that we have manufactured all over the Midwest and all over the country and world. The Lowbrow Customs Welding School Scholarship is administered by the Cleveland area AWS chapter, which is the American Welding Society. For more information on this scholarship, how to apply, and to find out more about other scholarships that Lowbrow Customs offers, you can visit lowbrowcustoms.com/scholarships. Thank you very much.
And we're back. Hey man, I want to tell you again, we're coming to you live from the Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorney Studio every week, Thursday, sometimes Sunday. It looks like we're switching to Sunday. Get ready for the Sunday deal because the Sunday numbers are better. But 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're bringing you 90 to 120 minutes, all the bullshit we can fit. Some news, some entertainment, events, all of that. But it is your job to participate in this show. And with that, we're going to go to Heather, and she's going to bring up the social media airwaves and tell us who's on, who's what, who's saying what, who's unhappy, who's on first.
Heather's got a cool hat.
You got to turn your mic on. There you go.
It is on. I didn't do it. You did it. You muted me.
Muted.
Fine.
Hey, hold on a minute here.
I said muted.
Yeah, I know.
Mute.
Cool
no,
hat.
Mark, you cannot mute me.
Am I on?
Yeah, you're on.
Am I on?
So you
just
keep
gotta talk to
showing
the
that
mic.
video.
Talk into the microphone.
People
Here,
can hear me.
Move it back to you.
Cool hat, Heather.
Thank you. You can get one at
your blanket that's
hotleathers.com.
covering you that looks like the granny blanket that nobody can see.
I'm cold. Leave me alone.
When we're at home, we do the show without pants on. It's awesome.
Anyway, as I was saying, you just keep showing that video just to...
What video?
The TMMR
Tennessee.
video. Just to rub it in that
dude,
I'm not going.
she's super
you big,
pissed.
Giant losers.
She's super pissed that she's not coming to Tennessee.
But I'm going to get Mom of the Year, and you're not, so...
Well,
Did you have your pants off when you did this?
I could
Tell me I
get.
gotta have my pants
You
off.
can't get Mom of the Year.
So give it a hell of a try, though. I bet.
So we've got a bunch of people here.
A little festival
J.
going
Terry-
on over here.
Look, I'm turning his mic off. Go.
Billy J. Terry is asking if there are any updates on the chase. Though the chase actually starts tomorrow, and we are going to have regular updates posted on our social media channels. Missy Shoemaker is going to be bringing us those, so stay tuned to our Facebook page for those updates. Brian Ferrand, he wishes we were going to be at the Kentucky Kickdown this year.
Me too.
I do too, but unfortunately, they haven't figured out a way to clone us without making us dumber. So
I like pizza.
I like pizza. She says we don't
how
fix
is it
things.
that we managed to make that reference almost every week?
She touched my peppy, Steve.
She touched my puppy.
Oh.
She says.
What a great movie.
She says that we don't fix
It is.
things.
My wife and I were talking about that one the other day. Like, you know, and then the reality of like the clone being in bed with my wife eating pizza came. And I
Okay.
was like, yeah, we got it.
We're going to have to put a moratorium on multiplicity, or we're just going to have to play the movie. So
It's a great movie. It really
Can we
is.
get in trouble with that? Like, can YouTube ban us for talking about saying too many
No.
lines from a movie?
Tom Kiefer doesn't have pants on.
Hi, Tom Kiefer.
Tom Kiefer's watching the show without pants on.
Oh,
See?
boy.
See? So let's just
On
suffice
that
it to
note,
say that we want you to participate. Maybe not as much
Steve
as Tom
Broyles
Kiefer.
took his pants off too.
Nice.
Oh,
What
That's
is
it. I'm
going
taking my
on?
pants off.
No,
There's-
please don't
we're
do that.
we're definitely not doing the show on Thursday anymore.
There's going to be an issue.
Ben Kudund from American Prime Manufacturing
Ben never has
just joined
pants
us.
on.
Yeah.
Ben never
Okay,
has pants on.
Hello.
Okay, go ahead. Please continue.
Okay, don't you have something important to talk about, like Golden Bolt or something? There's a guy
We
over
do,
there sitting that wants
but
to talk
let's just
about it.
remind
Let's
everybody
pretend.
real quick that you can help Shop Talk go further by sharing. Hit the share button, hit the alarm so that when we go live, you know. And with that, I will introduce our next guest of the hour, Mr. Kevin Dunworth of the famed, now famous, 2 years in a row Golden Bolt Motorcycle Show in California. Kevin, what's up?
Not much, man. I got to tell you, I've been wanting to get on the air with you guys for a while, and I'm so excited to be here. But I just want to know why you get like the big, fancy microphone, and
Because
me
I
and-
bought all this
Me
shit.
and Heather, and Mark, you know.
I bought all this
Oh,
shit
okay.
and I could
Well,
only
that's cool.
afford one good
I
microphone.
don't know. It looks like Heather's got the credit card balance over there. So
So actually, it's because he's high maintenance and
Ah.
we're not.
yeah.
Wow. Oh man. And she does it to me every week. It's like I don't have pants on.
All right. So anyway, when I was 8, no.
It all started when he was around 8
So
years old.
let set the scene for Golden Bolt. Let's get right into Golden Bolt.
Well, you know, Mark, you know, I don't come from the V-twin kind of chopper scene.
It's okay.
I know. I'm cool with it. It's just you guys. I'm trying to make you guys comfortable.
It's all right, Kevin. Hey, but the funny part about it is like trackside there for a minute. I mean, there was a large, you know, part of this that was, you know, track
He's-
bike, race bikes. I mean,
Yeah.
He's talking about the other magazine that we did.
Yeah,
I don't
I
know if
mean-
Kevin knew about that.
No,
No?
I knew
Maybe
about
to
the
do your
motocross
research.
stuff. You
It
guys,
was all racing.
yeah, all racing. Yeah, we've talked about it
was
several
awesome
times.
too. Like it was one of our favorite things to do. I think at one point there for a minute.
You know what I'm talking about, which you know, Chris and I have lots of phone calls because he, you know, believe it or not, he's become kind of a mentor to me over the years with different stuff. And
That'll cost you.
no, I know, but we disagree about a lot. And what I appreciate about it, Chris, is we can express each other's views of where we think the industry should go, what history we think should be taught, and this leads into the Golden Bolt. So I'm not just off on a tangent, but it you know, he's a chopper and biker culture guy, which I grew up in. but also kind of like almost rebelled against, when I became like my 20, because it was like, man, the last thing I want to do is, mailmen ride panheads, if I wanted to go fast, I'm sure as hell not going to build a shovelhead. My dad, and his buddies rode shovelheads. I'm not riding that, so I had an understanding and a knowledge, which I appreciate a lot now as an adult. But when you're young, it's man, I'm a motorcyclist, man. I'm not.
You have the world figured out.
And exactly. And at the same time, there's always this. I think, as with a lot of people in American culture, this passion and this fixation on 50s culture. So that for me, motorcycle-wise, led to like English, after World War II, and the fact that these badass dudes were able to build motorcycles because there were tariffs and rationing and all this stuff going on in England because they were bombed out. Yeah. Meanwhile, all those guys came back from World War II and started our current hot rod culture, which I really liked. And one of the things that to me has been a premise with my whole life since I was in the 20s is like, and this is going to cause a lot of feedback, I'm sure, that's going to be negative, but like the hot rodders were taking the coolest stuff they could do, and they were buying older cars. And somewhere all these things became labeled and became scenes. And Chris and I have had a lot of talks about this, but they were just trying to go fast. So I believed, like when I was in my 20s, especially, like I had this hot rod culture and this thing that I just wanted to go fast. I wanted to work with whatever I could, and it didn't really matter what it was. And then somewhere along the line, everything started getting labeled. You're a biker. You're a cafe racer. You're a hot rod. Oh, you're an import car guy. Well, dude, there's nothing now in history. It already shows the 90s import car culture progressed the hot rod culture, progressed it. And those kids were in the same crap that you were into. Anyway, the Golden Bolt was a premise of allowing builders, because I kind of came up through the builder ranks and, kind of knowing some of the hottest dudes in the world led me to believe.
He just said he knows hot dudes.
Hot dudes, yeah. He's
totally freaking me out.
He's not just right long hairs who don't wear pants and do their own radio shows, Chris.
Right. He's expanded.
Heavy on the long hairs.
Stay back now.
Right, I'm just saying.
Do not touch.
Yeah, don't touch. All right, no touching. It's a radio show, no touching. But no, it's. But it was one of those things where when you start realizing, like, man, I went through the local ranks. I was, we built some cool stuff. Me and my buddies. You get to the regional ranks, you build some cool stuff. Get to the national ranks. Hey man, I'm gonna change the industry. I'm gonna let everybody know. And then here I am, 43, going, wow, I still have so much to learn.
Oh my God. Right.
And I think we all, again, I've talked to Chris, I've talked with Mark. I think we all agree on that. So the concept for me for the Golden Bolt was, how do we celebrate that? We need the backing of some people to allow, but we also need to really celebrate talents, no matter what the style.
Right.
And that's where I came up with the Golden Bolt. And interestingly enough, I pitched it to several other companies, and the House of Machines out of South Africa, which was looking at a global expansion of going to LA, they were the first ones to go, yeah, man, we kind of dig what you're saying, and we think globally what you have going on is something that could be cool. So that allowed me to actually do it, and that was the first year. And what's funny is. And I said this to Brian, who was the winner this year with a chopper.
You sounded disappointed in that.
No, that's what's so cool about it. I mean, it's like this just kind of like, and I couldn't have done the judging style that we did without Bob Kay, but it's new, it's different. So like whatever you want to label everybody as, like the hipster guy, the standard guy, the adventure rider guy, the chopper guy, the bagger guy. They all had their own version of what the perfect bike
should
was.
Have been on top, right? And
we were like, hey man, when Max won last year, it was labeled a hipster show. I got hate mail, man. People were like, oh dude, Max this, Max that. And it was like, you weren't there, you don't know, ask the builders.
Right.
And this year, we're seeing the same thing. Like, and I'm not going to name names, but I follow Instagram religiously. You know this, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm a stalker, dude. and I might not like your stuff, but if you're listening right now, I watch you. I know who you guys are. I follow like freaking 10,000 people, dude. On my Instagram.
You're starting to worry me.
No.
Work?
I follow you, Mark.
Do you work? You follow Mark?
Mark
has the most boring social media life in the world.
I don't know. I turned him on to a couple things his girlfriend was doing today. Right?
Dana yells at me all the time because I don't do the things I should do. But
Sorry, Mark.
hey, don't sorry me. You have to deal with Dana, not me.
Start following your girlfriend, man. I'm just saying. You just gotta pay attention.
Wow, this show is taking a quick left-hand
you
turn
don't have to
into
worry
the
about me.
dark
You have
side.
to worry about her. So.
Oh man, I even forgot where I was. But anyway, the
waiting to get beat up by Dana. That's where you are right now.
It wouldn't be the first time. Yeah. But so it's one of those concepts where when you start looking at when people win, the chopper guys in the beginning of this year, man, Golden Bolt, they're letting some chopper guys in. It's like a hipster show. Brian wins, those same chopper guys. Yeah, choppers rule, man. They finally proved it. And again, the platform was that style doesn't really matter, cleanliness doesn't really matter. We want to showcase talents of the builders, and it's truly trying to be kind of like what you guys are doing in Galveston. It's truly trying to be a representation to the world and the industry of what's out there and the current culture. Yeah. And it is mixed, man. I mean,
dude, and you know what, man? I gotta say something to you, Kevin, and like, this is gonna be an extension of conversations that we have all the time. I feel like it was always mixed. You know what I feel like happened? That somewhere in the early 90s, the V-twin culture got super crazy popular and got publicized like crazy, but
No, Chris, it didn't get publicized. It got labeled,
but
they could sell it.
No, I think the people
everything got labeled. Yeah. Everything that we do and everything that we are got labeled. The V-twin industry got super publicized, and they did label it and they did sell it. The rest of the motorcycle shit, though, it's always been there. There's always been cafe guys, rockers versus mods, and remember. There's always been all that stuff. There's always been the KZ nuts, and it's always been there. It's always been that part of it. And now, as we're starting to see the V-twin thing shrink back into a subculture.
Yep.
It finds its place among its peer groups again, where it doesn't matter. Like to guys like us, man, matter. I'm right down with my buddies on their GSXRs. We use GSXR parts on our Harley race bikes. Right. Daniel doing the stuff that he does with the XS6.
But that's the thing. Like you and I, we met. I knew who you were. I don't know if you ever knew who I was, but we met at a event.
That's because you're a stalker.
Yeah, it's true. Well, that was pre Heather too, so you were available back then. Yeah,
you brought up a point though earlier about the hot rod guys. Something about the hot rod guys that didn't drag into all the rest of this was those guys made shit fast out of whatever they had.
Yep.
They didn't pick a section. I mean, sure, it turned into the Ford guys and the Willys guys and the Chevys guys, but from the gate, they used whatever they had and they made it fast.
Well, I think a neat thing that, and I'm not going to speak for Chris, but we've had this conversation on the phone. Everything gets labeled, everything gets sold, and then everything gets whitewashed.
Yep.
And I don't care what culture it is. I don't care what it is, what you do. And again, I can tell you, look at Bob K. He's Mr. Biker right now.
Bob who?
You know Bob K. raced Japanese sport bikes. He came up through the AMA racing ranks. He's done it all, man. And again, that's what I want to celebrate. And again, you can call them hipsters or young people or whatever you want to call them. But these guys are getting fed, spoon-fed, whatever culture they think is fashionable. And that's awesome. That's great. And I'm happy for that. But
dude, the worst thing is if you pay attention to the culture that they're exhibiting, they're learning most of that shit from old B-rate movies those movies were made to make fun of things that weren't it just wasn't real life.
Like that.
The thing is, and again, my belief is it's I don't care how they get into it. I don't care what they think was fashionable to be cool. What I care about is that the guys who fall off because it's not fashionable anymore, that's fine. They can be fine. But the guys that are true motorcyclists or whatever you want to call them, there needs to be some substance behind it.
Yeah.
And again,
amen.
I get your magazine. I pay for a subscription. I don't build the style. I'm not known for the style bikes that you build, but I learned something from that. I was on, I've been pals and friends, and I've learned so much from Will Ramsey. You look at Will Ramsey bike, and you look at what a bikes I've built, and I hate to say this because I'm putting him down because my quality of welds are nowhere near his. But if I would be lying if I said he hasn't influenced me on getting my builds better. Right. And even though they're
But that's
different
what it's
styles,
all about.
It is.
You know what I mean?
It
but
is.
that's not what's being taught.
Oh no,
And
no,
that
I
might be what
agree.
you guys are being taught,
Right.
but that's not what's being taught.
But it's it's what some of us are teaching though.
Well, trying
You know what
to
I mean?
teach.
Like
Right.
honestly, having Daniel participate in the magazine, and when we can have you Owings participate in it, and when we do stuff that's like, we do fuel injection technology.
Yep.
I mean, you'll see a lot more chopper stuff and old bike stuff in our magazine, but we get into all of it. Like this month, Daniel's been doing this incredible series, and I love Daniel's stuff because a long time ago we decided, Daniel and I together, that Daniel's premise was going to be a guy in a garage.
Yep.
So how could he make that guy's life easier, give that guy more knowledge, save that guy money, right? That was going to be what Daniel did with his tech article every month. So he's been doing this series now called 99 Problems, right? And to celebrate his anniversary with the magazine, he's doing 99 problems in a row with 99 fixes. Little stuff, sometimes it's machinery in the shop, but he's doing this whole section. He and I sat down on the phone the other day. He's doing a whole section of 10 problems with stripped hardware and 10 solutions of how to address that.
Which are
You know what I
huge
mean? And like
problems when it
those
comes to that.
those are the things, dude. Like it doesn't matter what you're building. Hot rod,
Yep.
rat rod,
Yep.
show queen, race bike, Harley bike, like what the article of creation, you know what I mean? Like being able to put your hands on something, and that's what a show like Golden Bolt celebrates. That it celebrates the creation
the creation
process
of it.
and acquiring that knowledge.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, thank you for that. But the big goal for me was, and I'm not going to sit here as a hypocrite. I've got a 18-year motorcycle industry career. I will right now, recorded on this show, tell you I've showed bikes at the Indy Dealer Expo with no pistons in them because I was under deadline and I had corporate deal and they wanted to see whatever it was that I was representing showcased. So getting that out there first. I also, as I got older, got really tired of seeing the motorcycle part of our industry being, and I just saw, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but I just saw PJ Garvin just did an article today. Motorcycles are not art, changed my mind. And again, I haven't read it yet, but it was like the headline immediately caught me. But it was like, man, I'm not going to argue with PJ, but I do think they're art. But I do think they should be a motorcycle. And again, in order to be a motorcycle, it kind of needs to do what I want it to do.
The difference between art and the motorcycle is, can you get on it and ride it?
Exactly.
To me.
But a motorcycle can be art as long as it stays a motorcycle.
Absolutely.
Sure.
And I think all of what we do.
But a piece of art can't be a motorcycle if you can't ride it.
Exactly, but that's just a
Literally,
piece of art. It's not a piece of motorcycle.
Right.
It's not a piece of motorcycle art anymore.
Yeah.
And again, and back to what you're saying about strip screws. What husband wouldn't want to learn to fix his wife's sink these days or anything else?
Yeah.
And that's the broad stroke thing of what we talk about as a society of where things are lost. And as a motorcyclist, I'm not trying to be elitist, and I'm not trying to be deserving because I ride a motorcycle. But I'm also saying, hey, man, we're such a small volume of guys. I don't care what you are. I don't care if you ride one-wheeled unicycles that has a motor on it. You're in my club. And that was another thing that was, prominent when we came up to Golden Bolt was how do we become welcoming? We had an adventure bike. So, we literally, we open it up to anybody that thinks they could win this money on their talent. Style isn't known. There's no chopper class. There's no,
Right.
Here's a digger class, and all that stuff. And the other thing was one winner. My goal with that, and we didn't really release this, and we've talked about it now, and this is the first time I've talked about it live. I've done a couple interviews. My main goal was to create a sense of camaraderie while doing a competition. And I don't think you do that with a series of points. So 30K brings in world caliber builders and guys who think they can compete with those guys. And every year I curate the bikes, I curate the people. We let a couple guys in there and they get there and they, literally, I had two people this year that came to me and they said, Kevin, and I don't know if I can cuss here, but they said, how the F did I get in this room?
Yeah.
And I said, you got in this room because of who you are, what you're designing, and your age, and I want to see what you're doing in 10 years. And
Right on.
one of them, is Ava Wolf. She's 23 years old. She's built a couple bikes. She's old school apprenticing with a guy named Dustin Cott. Dustin Cott's very famous in the cafe racer Hollywood scene, but he's unknown in the chopper scene.
Yeah.
And she's apprenticed with this guy for 3 years. I mean, apprentice is old school apprentice, no pay. I show up to the shop, I do shit work, I sweep floors, and this guy maybe teaches me a couple of his things that he wants to learn. You and I, Chris, have talked about that. Like, I came up in bicycle and two-stroke. I had to apprentice. You probably had to apprentice.
Oh, yeah.
I tell guys, look, man, I'm not going to hire you, man, but you can hang out in the shop and sweep my floors. They go, what are you talking about, dude? I'm worth $14 an hour. You know, here's this girl, 23 years old. She's apprenticing with Dustin. She got in the room because of the talent of what she was doing and her creativity. We had another guy who I won't name, but he got in the room because of his talent and his creativity. Yeah. We also had Max Hazen. We have Brian Boudreaux. We have Jake Drummond. Jake Drummond, another young guy. I'm such a fan of this guy. Here's what's funny to me. These guys meet me, and they're like, man, we've been following you for 10 years. And I'm going, dude, you don't know what an honor it is to meet you, man. You're so talented. I would love for you to build one of my frames. You know, and that was kind of like another thing with the Golden Bull was just like, man, I can't imagine getting all, because I really love all the different genres. I can't imagine getting all the guys I'm fans of and getting them in one room and letting them see that they're all the same. And the biggest honor to me was...
Yeah, they're all artists to an extent.
Well, the biggest honor to me was talking to Brian and his wife 3 hours ago. 3 hours ago, and him going, man, I want to call you. I got to up my game. I want to build something different. Yeah. Here's the guy who just won $30K for a chopper he built. And he's talking about building a completely different genre bike with his talents.
But that is our game.
That's the Golden Bull.
No, man.
Right.
And
that's the Golden Bull.
I think that's... Here's my thing, taking this to the crossover point with art, right? Because all of my stuff starts and ends with art. It has to be, like, I totally believe the form follows function, and it has to be a riding motorcycle, but the art part of it, like, I build my bikes according to Fibonacci's coil with the golden rule of thirds and, like, all kind of crazy art shit. I believe that in the artistic sense of things, you don't get to call yourself a true artist. Like, I'm on a lifelong endeavor to learn to create art with anything I put in my hand. A Dremel tool, clay, oil paint, on and on and on, right?
Yeah.
Same thing with a motorcycle. You can't really say that you know what that's all about. And I'm not saying, like, the dick measuring contest of you can't say you're a builder until you make every nut and bolt on your bike. No. But if you only build one style of motorcycle, if you only build that one thing, you never broaden your horizons to really.
But I think that's a phase you have to go through.
It is.
We've talked about this.
Some people never get out of that phase, though. I mean, like, you can pick one of their bikes out of a room full of motorcycles.
No, I'm with you, man.
Whole careers. Some guys have had whole careers on that.
We did those Motorcycle Industry Council roundtables, Chris, and you always talked about. That the same thing, and you and I even butted heads on some of the ideas of welcoming shops and this, that, and the other. But the general conception is, and I hate to sound like an older guy because I still consider myself young, but it's like man, dude, you go through these transitions, and then I think if you're truly open-minded and not egotistical and not arrogant, and those guys get washed out of this industry real quick, man. I mean, sure, a couple of them survive because of money. But most of the guys who don't have anything, who really trying to make it, and they're too egotistical, they're not here anymore. I've seen so many shops come and go. I've seen so many builders come and go. But again, the average guy goes, wow, again, you build bikes. You're a bike builder. You're a respected bike builder. You're an editor of a magazine. Can you weld as good as Brian or Will Ramsey? I can't.
I work at it every day.
Me too. Well, I don't. That's my other problem. I'm doing this stuff for a month, and then I go back to my TIG welder, and in my head, I'm that guy. And then I sit down and I try to do it. I'm not. But that's the thing. I don't have to be. I'm still creative. I still create a product.
Everybody has their own angle.
And that's my thing, man. Like, nobody should be able to shit on it.
No.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Like, that's one of the biggest things. Like, I love this year. One of the bikes that we did was. We went all the way back to the 90s, dude, and built like a 90s custom. And on purpose, we picked parts from the 90s and took some design stuff of today and like stuff people were doing with Softails. But we went back to the 90s to do that stuff where shit didn't fit exactly right.
And when it started, you know what I mean? Yeah, when it started, we weren't too excited about it.
And then the more we did it, the more we were excited because of what you're saying, being open to it and saying, okay, well, you know, this is what the project is, you know, and like,
well, here's what's
we had
funny.
a blast.
There's a whole generation, and I really felt it in L.A., you know, because, again, I love L.A. for about 6 days, and then I'm ready to get home. But it is a different little, you know, microcosm of American culture there. And what's funny, there's a guy, he's originally from Baltimore, but Oliver from Cut Rate, he's a born free builder. You may have heard of him. But he's really been getting into like the 90s bikes. And it's crazy to me because like that's kind of when I was graduating high school, and it was like those bikes. And Perowitz was really hitting his stride, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
the Perowitz paint jobs and everything. And it's so cool to see, but at the same time kids are coming up to me and they're going, "What's this?" And so what's funny to me really is the 20 to 17-year-old it's going, "Oh, that's cool. That's a 90s FXR."
Yep.
And I'm going, "How old are you?" They're going, "I'm 19." How do you know what this is? So that's what's really cool about motorcycling is
see, I'm
they
gonna
think
give
it's
you
cool.
me and Xavier talk all the time about how, you know, motorcycles and music have so many similarities, right? And I will put this to you that guys like Arlen Ness, Dave Perowitz, Donnie Smith, you know, the longtime guys that have been through generations, you can compare them to a band like Kiss.
Yeah.
Right? They constantly redefine themselves, their music, their approach to everything. But even eventually, like the kids that you're talking about right now, they know Kiss without the makeup from the 70s, or with the makeup from the 70s, and Kiss with the makeup from today. If you take them a picture of Gene Simmons in a fucking spandex suit with makeup on, they're going to be like, okay, who is that?
Yeah,
but that was part of Gene's role, man.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
But the thing I'm saying is like some of these younger kids, they know more about them than you or I.
oh yeah, yeah.
Because it's like
Yep.
that's their thing. Like they're anti. So I'm 43. I have 7-year-old daughters, which are younger, but we go to Hot Topic, and like everything that was super cool in like 1988 is in Hot Topic right now.
Right, it's
and
back.
so my wife and I are loving it. We're like, we're
Hey,
trying
they say every
hey,
trend-
girls, you think this is cool? They're like,
every
no, we hate
trend-
Hot Pink. You know, it's
Every
like,
trend comes
Hot
around,
Pink's
they
cool.
say. You know, I mean, it rolls back around. That's true.
Yep.
And you know, you almost have to question that, like we did when we were kids. Me and Chris talked about like these long choppers and stuff. And they were cool when we were growing up. That was what the dudes were riding back then. And then it all disappeared for a while. And the only way for it to come back is for people like us to bring it back.
Right.
You know what I mean? To make it cool.
Well,
again.
and it almost, like what Kevin says too, like it almost needs to be labeled,
Yep.
be sold out,
To be dropped
and be
off
washed
again.
away,
Yep.
Yeah.
just to have a chance to have a rebirth.
Right.
Yeah,
And-
no, that's cool.
And like you said,
Yeah.
one of the most widely said verses when people walk in and look at our bikes, oh yeah, they're really badass, but you can't ride that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kiss my ass.
So yeah, like okay, you catch me. you
Well, that's
know?
what I don't as you know, and I'm saying this, I haven't competed in a show in 6 or 7 years, and then Chris asked me to come to the Lone Star Rally at Galveston
In motion.
and in motion, and you know, I had a blast down there, and it was really neat, and it was a competition, but again, you curated it to get a band of brothers and do all that stuff.
Yep.
And again, those were unbeknownst to me that you were doing that at the same time that I was coming up with the original concepts of the Golden Bolt, even though we were talking about doing riding shows and some of the other shows that were in Vegas at the time that, you know, oh, here's a video of your bike starting. Like,
Yeah.
wow, really?
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. No, and that's the thing too with the Golden Bolt. Like, we ride in downtown LA. Ask any builder that did it. It's epic, man. You will die. Like
Yeah.
it's literally that serious. We offer no SAG support. There is no pat. There's nothing. I do a speech before it. If you don't feel like doing this, that's fine. We'll still judge you. But here it is. This is an outlaw old biker show.
Yep.
But if you don't sign the book here, sign the book at the halfway point, sign the book back, you don't get
Yeah.
all the points all the other guys get.
Right.
And again, right away, what's funny is like you look around the room. Here's some of the most hot Instagram guys, hottest builders, whatever. They all look around, and it's like you don't even have to say it. All of a sudden, they form the buddy system.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey,
They group up.
Hey, Mark, like you're riding
Yeah.
with me, right?
They-
Man? Like,
they
you know,
group
I got you, boo.
Yeah. Hey, Chris, man, you got a 10 millimeter, man. 'Cause,
And
you know, I'm gonna need that thing.
It's funny that you hook up with guys that you had a little bit of a problem, so you hook up with a guy that like knows good electrical stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But again, you got 23 dudes.
Yeah.
And here's the funny thing, like, and I think we've been successful at it. You know, as the years go on, it's going to become more difficult. But the first year, we had 21 builders. We gave away $25,000. every dude walked up, hugged Max, partied with him all
Yep.
night. Everybody talked good stuff. This year we had 23 builders. Everybody walked up to Brian. I mean, of course, he sobbed like a little baby on stage, but you know, it's like, I mean, you talk about, I cried.
Good for
You
him.
know, yeah, oh, it was awesome.
Yeah.
But it's like one of those things where, like, I mean, I watched 20 dudes walk up and hug that dude
Yeah.
and say, "Hey, man."
Oh, yeah.
I mean, cafe dudes, modern standard, you know, whatever label you want to put on
Yeah,
every
it
builder
becomes
in there.
camaraderie. Once
walked
you
up
get
and
them all
hugged
in
that
that
dude
room.
and said, "Hey, man, congratulations."
But I guess in another sense, you think about it, with all the people that are laboring, the hipsters, laboring the bikers, you take all those people and put them in a room, half of them don't have the balls to come up and say something to you in the room together. So putting them all in that room,
Yeah.
you know, sometimes makes them open up, makes them see different
tears
sides.
down those walls,
no,
man.
most definitely. And you can talk shit all you want on Facebook, online, on, you know, Twitter, on whatever the kids are doing this day,
Right.
you know, these days. But when it comes down to Snapchat, to actually stand in there and speaking, you know, most
Did
people
you say
won't do it.
Snapchat?
Snapchat. That's what he said.
Yeah,
Snapchat.
Snapchat. I'll
Yeah,
Snapchat you later.
most people won't admit it face to face. 90% of the people won't admit it face to face. So
No, that's the thing, man. And again, and I've been lucky. You know, I don't know if luck's the right word, but I really do. Like, I didn't know every builder in the room this year, but I personally spend a lot of time. Like, I Google these guys. I look at them.
Stalk them.
No, but if I
well,
see
you don't
any-
admit you're a stalker. So go.
no, but if I see, and again, maybe I'll get bad feedback for this. But if I see you being negative, or I see you bashing, or I see you doing other stuff, you're not going to get in my
your
contest.
characters as much
my-
as your build.
Yeah, my contest, as long as I'm involved in it, I'll say that, is about being a true contest, and it's not really a show or competition like that. It's a contest.
Yeah.
Of you know, who has the best talents, and I'll say this, and because a lot of people, I did a couple magazine interviews and L.A. Times, you know, all these guys, and I couldn't compete in my own contest.
Yeah.
You know, and I'll be the first one to admit that. Like, I mean, the dudes that are in there are just incredible, and I'm kind of proud of that too. You know, it's like, man, I know where I'm at. I'm not there. You know?
And that's it
Mark,
too. You're
he,
pushing.
he totally just name dropped right on our
I
show.
know.
Yeah.
Did you
get used to
catch
it.
that?
You get used to it after a while.
Right.
You know, but you,
No.
I know.
LA Times.
Times.
Yeah.
They're kind of a big deal.
well, it's sort of funny because, you know, not only now are you calling some of these people out that are labeling other people, but like you're saying, not to compete in that, but you could compete in it. Anybody can compete in that if they bring their A game. I mean,
Yeah.
and you know what I mean? That's what it all comes
Well,
down
and
to.
that's a whole nother thing. Like, I'll tell you right now, I'm sick of living in an outcomes-based society.
Oh, yeah.
I really am. I'm sorry. I believe whether it's your kid or a guy that you know or yourself, if somebody puts their heart and soul into something,
Yeah.
and somebody else half-steps some shit, the guy who put the more work and more passion into what he does deserves something for that. He deserves recognition.
Right.
Let's talk about that. I mean,
Well,
Brian.
let's talk about it.
Brian is Brian Budera, who won the Golden Bolt, $30,000. He's a garage builder.
Right.
He has a day job. It's his second complete motorcycle he's ever built from the ground up. By all means, in a room with absolute pros. I mean, industry guys designing motorcycles for companies, helping with design, influencers, you know, blah 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 in the room. And Brian, with granted a very simple platform, a platform, Miguel Galuzzi, to quote him, I think people are upset about not understanding where this bike came from because it's a platform that they've seen for 40 years.
Yeah. The simplicity. They think
yeah.
it's simplicity.
But in the simplicity of what it is, and the only reason it's simple is because we've all seen it before.
Right.
But have we all seen it before executed in this level? And that's what won the show.
Well, and dude, that's what I'm saying. Maybe you misunderstood me when we started this. I'm not talking about the guy that did the most.
Right.
I'm not talking about
No,
the guy.
no, I'm in
that
complete
worked-
agreement with
that
you.
worked the hardest. When somebody exhibits that kind of passion,
yeah.
it's undeniable.
No, I
You
get
know
what you're
I
saying,
mean?
and
Like,
I completely
absolutely.
agree with you. And I think that's another example of how not only does our judging system work, and it's different, so everybody's upset about it. Like, you mean I didn't get to vote for my best friend because he's cool?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
didn't.
No.
There's judges. And again, the judges only vote on 25% of the bike. We don't get to see the other 75% of it. Bob K, the chairman, puts that together. He does the numbers. I mean, it really does. It changes the game.
So you're blaming it
that's
all
the
on Bob.
most thing. Yeah, it's all Bob's fault. But anyway, no, I really, I'm proud of it, man, because I was frustrated with, and again, there's a place for peer judging, but when you go to a show and there's peer judging, and then a couple industry who's the industry influence? Oh, this guy owns a shop locally, and he happens to, blow the guy who's the promoter. No, dude, he's not judging my bike. No, I'm sorry, I can't say that, can I? I just saw everybody's faces.
No, that's great. No, but listen, 1 second just to get back to what I was saying about outcomes-based society. Like, the way I am with Amelia, I've made Amelia work her ass off. I've made her stand up for herself. Heather has too. We make her go to bat for herself. We make her stand on her own 2 feet. And I think that if we don't start doing more of that, if we don't start illustrating in the things that we do that there are winners and there are losers for a very specific reason. If you set out every day and your goal is to do this thing and you want it and you want it and that's your goal and the things that you're doing, you're going to pick up the knowledge, you're going to spend the time, you're going to study it. You know what I mean? That deserves, no matter what it is, if it's science, if it's, metal shop, if it's building motorcycles, that deserves credit, man.
I'm in complete agreement. And again, talking to Brian, I don't know if you're going to get him on the show, but the guy, he was literally in a ghetto in Los Angeles. He had one of Chris Richardson's bikes up on builds up on his wall. Never built the motorcycle, ridden motorcycles, might have owned them, I don't know, that's history. But he's told the story a couple times to me with tears in his eyes. He had the picture of this bike on his walls. He wanted to build it one day. He got into the chopper scene. He built his first bike, and he was your builder of the year. Yep. His second bike, he's built this at Chris Richardson's in Los Angeles. Hard work, perseverance. He was an MMA fighter. Yep. He was a bouncer. He lived on the street bouncing at night in Las Vegas. Came back, hard work, perseverance, all this stuff. To me, I didn't even know any of that. Until he won the thing and I started talking to him. And he goes, man, here's what this means to me. But you're talking about this is exactly what you're talking about. And it also shows to me, and again, this is our plug for the fact that our contest is real. Max Hazen, he's also a self-made guy, man. He won last year. This year, a chopper happened to win. Next year, who knows what could win? What I mean? And same deal. But to me, we've created a contest that allows the best craftsman, the best builder, and the best really all-around person with whatever platform they choose to be a winner and get celebrated for it. And as far as I know, and nobody has countered this since, and we've had the South African, the House of Machines out of South Africa researches, worth $30,000. Since 1993, there's nobody who's been giving away as much money as those guys have. And that's, BMW Motorrad, Bell Helmets, Russ Brown, who sponsors your event, and the House of Machines. They put that up, and that's what they said. They said, hey, Kevin, we like your idea. If we're going to have a contest, what's the most astronomical number you can remember? I was like, man, I don't know, $5 grand, 10 grand. They're like, let's do 25. And then we're going to do $5 grand more every year. So we did 25,000 the first year. This year we gave a check away for $30,000. Yeah. I mean, next year is going to be $35,000. And anybody can enter. Anybody can get in.
Well, listen, we like your show too. That was the point. Now we got to get you the hell off of the show because you're eating up all the time.
Screw those guys.
So
screw Kevin.
No, listen. Tell everybody where they can keep up with you on Golden Bolt, and more importantly, we're going to start talking to some of the guys that are here from AMD, but they were some of the guys that were also involved in Golden Bolt. Yeah.
Well, as you know, I'm heavily involved with Bob K. I have been for a lot of years, and
you mean work-wise?
No.
Well,
right.
Is that what he just meant when he was talking about?
Hey, Bob, what do you
guy
call
that's
me?
Blowing the promoter.
So. I'm thinking maybe.
Anyway, right. No, Bob literally picked me up off the streets and has taught me a lot, and I'm super proud to be able to say that I've worked with him for as many years as I have. And part of what I've done is he's allowed me to tweak. Bob K has a vision that outlasts his own life, and his vision is to bring motorcycle culture and what's happening on the street to the industry and represent it. And he realized that needed some change and needed a different voice. And he's allowed me and some of the younger guys that I bring to the table to do that. And I'm proud of that. And with that is the AMDs. And, we all have different opinions about the AMDs currently, but I have an opinion about where it should go and what it should do. And Bob's allowed me to do that. And as of right now, I'm the assistant director for the United States of the AMDs, and Bob's the director. And he keeps every year saying he's going to retire, and I keep saying, one more year. And it's basically, and I'll say this in all humility, it's just because I'm not ready to take over. I still have so much to learn, and I'm hoping he can teach me a little more.
Right on. Well, and like you said, regardless of what the opinion of it is, it's the one world show.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
we
currently.
can all argue about how we can make it better and what our opinions about that are, but it is the one world show currently. So
Yeah.
it definitely does deserve support. We commend you guys for supporting that. And
Well, you guys have been a big, huge thing. I mean, I know you have Bob on all the time, and you've always been here, supporting the stuff. And to me, more importantly than supporting the AMDs or anything like that, it's that the builder support that you guys have for the guys like Tim Dixon, all the different guys that are out there. You guys are always here. You're always getting them up on stage. You're always promoting them, and that's what we need to get the culture that we love and that we believe out to more people.
And that's it too. I think a little bit of what we do up on stage is that we give everybody the ability to learn that they can do this stuff themselves. I mean, anybody can be Brian Butera.
Yeah.
I mean, not everybody can be Brian, but
Yeah, you better
everybody
start
has the
welding.
ability.
Better
But I'm
start welding
saying,
soon.
everybody has the ability. Something.
yeah.
You might not be the guy that has to hand weld it. You might have a buddy that does that amazing weld. But a bottom line is everybody has the ability to come get to this position and build these kind of bikes. So it is as difficult as it is, and paying attention,
One step
it
at a
isn't
time.
rocket science.
No, I agree. I mean, I'm a pretty proficient welder. I've been an influencer for Lincoln Electric and so on. And, it's always like a humbling thing when they're like, you're our, we have you on our roster as influencers for our garage, our first time welders. It's like, well,
that a
no, wait a
compliment?
minute, man.
Yeah, hold on.
Prick. Right, yeah, I thought
compliment?
Well, thank you, but
You
what,
just
what do you
painted
mean?
your
Like,
Lincoln welder
Well, we're
blue.
basically just showing that anybody can weld. I was like, thank you. Yeah. But anyway.
all right, man. Well, listen, I want to thank you for coming and hanging out with us and telling us a little
Dude,
about
what
this.
a blast.
You guys can keep up with him by going to Facebook, keep up with Kevin Dunworth, keep up with the Golden Bolt, the AMD show. You can also get your ass off the couch, get on a motorcycle, and get down to the Cherokee Blue Ridge Run where we're all at this weekend. You can see some of the incredible bikes because, dude, there's a line of bikes right off to the side of us right now that are here to compete for a chance to go to Europe to represent the United States in the AMD World Show.
Right.
And that shit is going down this weekend right here at the Cherokee Rally. So I want to thank you again, man. We're going to take a break real quick while we get our next guest up. We're actually going to interview a couple of the AMD guys and actually talk to the Golden Bolt winner. But real quick, our friends from the Iron Horse in Sturgis have sent us along a little Sturgis recap. We're going to watch out while we switch things up. Stick around. Okay, man. Hey, we're back. This is Chris with Cycle Source Magazine, and we're coming to you live with Shop Talk through the Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorney Studio. Lots going on still here. We're live from the Cherokee Blue Ridge Run, happening all weekend long. You guys have an opportunity to come down and hang out with us. I'm going to check in with Heather and see how things are going on social media. What's going on, Blondie?
Carlos had pizza without us.
Oh.
I'm very disappointed. I want pizza and tacos and ice cream.
I like tacos.
I like tacos. Ashley Woodford is here. Roy Martin says good show tonight.
Ashley's going to yell at me for picking the wrong Drew. Oh.
Let's see. Rich Petoniak. Tom Kiefer was here. There were a lot of people here tonight.
Right on. Well, we thank you guys for hanging out with us and spending your time. Every Sunday from now on. Every Sunday, 9 p.m.
Except
Eastern.
this Sunday.
Except this Sunday. Starting next Sunday. Every Sunday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're going to bring you another 90 to 120 minutes of all the bullshit we can fit. Some news, some entertainment, the whole deal. And moving on to the last segment of our hour, we got some cool people in the studio with us right now. I'm happy to introduce both Xavier Muriel, invited builder for the AMD show here this weekend, but you were also part of the Golden Bolt show.
Yeah.
So we were just lucky enough to talk to Kevin, organizer of the Golden Bolt show, and he was outlining the differences. Also in with us is the man himself, the chopper offender. Like Kevin was like, yeah, and how about this year it was a chopper? I said, hey Kevin, what the hell does that mean? Like,
he did say the word chopper with a little bit of disdain.
Yeah. I'm like, it's okay that it was a chopper that won, Kevin, but the winner, Brian Butera Metal Works, dude, congratulations.
Thank you.
Not that long ago, I had you on this show, and I said the big question for you after tearing the hole in the ass of the world with the red bike was, what are you going to do for number 2? How do you follow that up?
Yeah, I remember talking to you on the last time I was on the show, and that was the big question. So that was the hardest part of building something again, was following that up and that constant question. So taking it out to the Golden Bolt and doing what it did, that kind of solidified that I may have pulled it off.
Now, for both of you guys, I just want to hear like firsthand account, because this was both of your first times at Golden Bolt.
Yeah.
Xavier, you had been to In Motion before, so you'd kind of been to a show of this kind of format, but take everybody through it and talk a little bit about what that environment's like.
Oh man, I mean, right off the bat, we, Brian, myself, and Nick from Mad Pen had literally just come off the heels of Sturgis, so we were literally in Sturgis for 10 days doing everything out there, business related, and seeing all of our friends and hanging out at the brand new handmade lot, the builder's lot, which is going to be the best and baddest thing that's gonna hit all of the events in the coming years. So we were literally just had dropped off our suitcases in our rooms prospectively, and then we turned right around from Sturgis, jumped in another car. Nick and Brian was kind enough to grab his truck and his trailer, pick up Nick, and then zoom through Austin, grab me, and we were on our way to LA, which I am no stranger to that drive. Driving from Austin, Texas to Hollywood is just such a pain in the ass, man.
It's brutal, right?
And I remember telling the guys at one point in time, Nick was actually driving, and I was like, hey, man, we're almost in El Paso, and that's like halfway. And he was like, what? What do you mean it's halfway? I'm like, yeah, bro. Texas is a big-ass state, homeboy. And, I mean, it was an experience. Brian hit it on the head way before we even got into the truck, which was all about the experience of just 3 dudes, a truck, a trailer, 3 bikes, and just going. And having lived in LA for a number of years and ridden there, and not only one of my own death traps, but riding choppers through there, I knew exactly what riding in downtown LA and then getting to Hollywood was going to be like. And I was kind of freaked out, to be honest, because it can be really intimidating because people don't give a hoot, man. They cut lanes, they split lanes, they're doing 45 in between standing traffic, and they just don't care. And here you've got guys, that we're really proud of the machines that we've labored over for months So that was kind of crazy, but like the whole intensity of getting there and meeting the commitment, and then figuring out where we were going to hang our hats, and then we had some time off the day before the actual check-in Wednesday, and I knew exactly where to go. We pulled the bikes out, did some stuff to them, and just kind of waited for that day, which was the actual ride. And like you had mentioned earlier, I mean, we've both done that ride in the In Motion show, which is a really awesome thing, because it's not just about pulling the bike out of the trailer anymore and sticking it in its spot and going, hey, this is it. You got to ride these things, and they got to leak oil, or they got to break down, or you got to do whatever you got to do to get them back. And, I was really, really grateful that I got to ride along these guys, as well as everybody else was there. There was a lot of our old friends were there. I got to meet people that I've heard about and have heard about me, but have never met face to face. So that was a really cool thing. And just to be back in LA again, riding my machine, and then looking over and seeing Brian on Hollywood Boulevard next to me, and Nick, and Rick Bray. I mean, at the end of the day, when it was all said and done, walking away from that with an experience of like, wow, we actually did that. Yeah, we rode our choppers into that show, and I couldn't have been more proud of the company that I was with, and just be able to like put my head down that night and go, man, that was a really, really, really awesome experience. And that's something that nobody can ever take away from me, from the sunsets that we saw on the drive, like going, wow, this is insane. Being on top of like a huge mountain in New Mexico, overlooking the valley, where there was a sunshine on one side and a huge rainstorm on the other. And we were like,
pictures can't ever get
no.
it.
And I tried.
You only get it being there.
Yeah, and it was really cool. And then just like getting there, meeting everybody, checking in, and seeing the arsenal, and I use the word arsenal, of motorcycles that were represented was pretty. It was intimidating, but it was also really invigorating and inspiring.
Brian, you also had the experience from In Motion show, and the stresses of, because everybody thinks, man, like when you say, okay, well, everybody's going to show up for this show and everyone has to ride the bikes, everybody thinks, well, okay, everybody rides a bike, no big deal, until you start thinking like, okay, what was that?
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
Did my bike just,
yeah.
Am I running out of gas?
Am I running out? Oh, yeah. And let me tell you, Brian and I could tell you some stories about that shakedown ride, and
Mad Pen Cycles, their legs have kicked my bikes and saved my ass as much as my own has. It's a whole new dynamic to doing a show. I mean, and the stress involved in it. It's been the two most stressful things I've ever done since getting into the bike thing like I have, but there's nothing more gratifying when you finish than something you built and you just rode through, whether it be Galveston or LA. It's the same feeling. Yeah. So it's and not all the bikes that are out there in these shows that we've all competed in and against are able to do that. Some of the top bikes out there, they aren't able to do the rideability aspect of it. So it's another dimension that you can pull off a build of, that's beautiful but functional too, and to show people, hey, it can be done.
And there were some of those bikes that didn't even make it off the starting line. Yeah. And when we were at the end of the day, sweating under the Cali sun, and we were all fired up, and I looked at everybody and I was like, okay, here we go. I've done this before. Everybody follow me. We are literally going to break every effing rule between Hollywood Boulevard, Mann's Chinese Theater, to where we've got to get back to East 7th Street, downtown LA. And everybody grabbed their balls, they grabbed their shifter, they ran red lights. Dude, we did a NASCAR fuel pit stop.
Record breaking.
Yeah.
I said over the 101.
Four bikes. We pulled into a gas station, all filled the tanks, and we're out. No exaggeration, it couldn't have been a minute. It couldn't have been a minute. And
nobody turning off their motorcycles. Everybody left them on, ran around, gave everybody gas, and took off.
The ride to the checkpoint and the ride back, it was two different animals. The traffic was bad, and Nick's motor, my motor, they're brand new motors, and they were getting hot, and so I actually shut it down right at Hollywood Boulevard and didn't realize I was right in front of the stars and the sidewalk people and everything else. I'm sitting there letting my bike cool down, and took a minute to grasp where I was at. But, we knew on the way back, especially with a time limit that was kind of put forth, that there was only one way we were going to make it. Time-wise, the bike's holding up. We couldn't afford to sit in traffic and do that again, so we all kind of made a common pact once we got up and rolling. There was people kicking each other's bikes, helping each other bump start down the hill. I mean, everything we could, we got rolling. And it was literally, 35 minutes? 35 minutes of the price of the most intense city riding I've ever done in my life.
Dude, you guys sound like an episode of Willie and the Chopper Gang.
Yeah, and the saddest part is, Chris, had any one of us had any forethought to put one GoPro on our motorcycles, we could sell this footage and be gazillionaires, because people would go, "You guys are absolutely insane, and what is wrong with you?"
I was right behind X, and thankfully I built my bike for Michael's skinny show, so between the cars it helped out. But I was watching X, and I made the bars on his bike, and I saw the mirrors, and I said, "Oh, he's not gonna make it." He said, "Oh God, he's not gonna make it." And he twisted and turned. It was pretty cool to sit behind him and watch too. It was,
And every time we would slow down, I would look back in my mirror, and Brian was right behind me, and then Nick, and then Rick, and I was like, okay.
At every light, we'd all kind of come
back and forth. They were just trading spots. It was like they were like tag teaming each other and going back into the ring, and we'd get to a stoplight, and then I would just wave my hand, and
everybody would nod off to each other.
And everybody would be like, woo, 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 run the red light. And then, there was a couple of times where
car stopped in the middle of an intersection more than once. There's a dinner table talks about the assholes on bikes running through.
Oh yeah,
choppers running through LA a couple years ago.
So at any point, Brian, did you just want to tap out? I'm out. I can't do this.
At the checkpoint, I probably came close. At the checkpoint, I kicked that thing. I had a bruise on the inside of my leg that was just, my knees were shot. I kicked that thing for days trying to get this thing running, and everything worked out. That time frame that we had in between Sturgis that was so short, and then for LA that X talked about, my whole time was spent day and night trying to get this thing dialed in right. And with some help of some people, Eric with F&A and Jason with Speed Metal Built in town, we got it pretty close. And again, X kind of spoke quick of it, but it was a pretty important morning. He found a parking lot where we tuned the bikes and got everything dialed in and corrected some stuff that I needed to do, and we all got kind of up to speed. And so at the checkpoint to where, it was just kicking, and the bike runs good, but that new motor is really ornery to start. So, again, Nick with Mad Pen, I love him like a brother. We've traveled the country together. We've been all over, and when I had to take a break, he jumped in. And he went to kicking it, and he did it more than once for me. So, thanks to him, if there was any idea of quitting or self-doubt, as a friend, he was right there to help keep that from happening.
And he got right back. Because he broke down, and we waited for him, and he came back with a fixed motor via hockey tape. And a rocker shaft nut that literally fell off on the ground. He broke down in front of a chopper shop on Hollywood Boulevard.
In front of a chopper shop.
And he made it there. And then when one bike wasn't firing, another one wasn't firing. And the thing was that when we got them all fired, I was like, okay. And Nick was like, just go. And I was like, no, we're not leaving anybody. We're all getting back together. And when they were all fired up, everybody had their idles a little higher so they wouldn't die. And just literally, and I was like, go, just shift, go, don't stop. And man, when we pulled onto 7th, we made it that whole time, and I almost wrecked turning onto 7th Street. That was the one time I almost wrecked because of the jerk off in front of me. But literally, when we pulled onto 7th and we all parked, and we got to bring the bikes back inside and just kind of set them down. everybody just kind of looked at each other, and we were like, "Oh, okay, that just happened."
I think everybody had a big expectation of finishing. If we all finished, which we did, and coming back and partying and being on top of and it was such an adrenaline dump, and it was so stressful and physically and everything exhausting. I mean, a 25-mile ride ended up being a 3-hour plus ordeal. So
it's a 3-hour tour.
Yeah, and that was the fast track on the way back.
So listen, man, I got to tell you this part of it though. This is what I love because of my brother here, I watch out for him, and I watch what he's doing all the time. So I'm watching you guys, and I'm watching you go through all this stuff, and I'm watching that. And incidental to the fact that you guys are all going out there with big swinging dicks to go get that money, and incidental to that is you had the trip of your lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
You made a pact between a couple of guys that you will never lose. You will be old men and unable to ride motorcycles, and you will still have a bond with the guys that you did this thing with. That's the cool shit.
Yep.
That's the cool shit. The check, I mean, listen, all due respect, you got the check, so you're going to say, yo, the check is pretty cool too. For the rest of the guys, the checks, yeah. But that thing there, man, if we could find a way for people to understand that thing, we wouldn't have a hard time getting people on motorcycles.
No, we wouldn't. We wouldn't.
What I mean?
I can't. It was such a show. I had no idea of winning that. I mean, the level of engineering and stuff that was going on in that room, and I had already felt that the event was over. It was done. Whoever won, and we already did our thing. I mean, like you said, the bond we built. These guys are some of the best friends I have, and I've built that through motorcycles, and that's it's a pretty amazing thing, and that's what makes it all worthwhile. I mean, everybody's going to win, everybody's going to lose, everybody that comes with it.
And listen, I mean, at the foundation of it, like, most of my life, I've just got to the point where I can assemble something with, and I still have problems with the shit that I put together, but when I was young, I rode any sketchy piece of shit I could get together. And the sketchier the better. I was like, good. You afraid to ride it?
Yeah,
I'll ride it. Stealing it.
Well, yeah, exactly. Oh, we don't have brakes? Okay, cool. I got brand new shoes. Let's go.
I would have older guys tell me, hey, yeah, it's cool, man. Love your chopper. Why don't you bring it in here for a minute? Let's make sure you're not going to die on it. So, I mean, it's not really about that. I mean, you work and you get better at stuff, and like it's satisfying whenever you can do things and whenever you learn stuff, and you should always strive to make yourself better. But the things that I'm talking about, the incidentals, man, pay attention to those incidentals, man. You're in these situations that you struggle when you strive, and you're given amazing gifts along the way. You guys got that. It was cool to watch that happen.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, like I said, the one thing that I will always take away from that was the experience of not only just like 3 dudes, 3 bikes, getting there, problems, difficulties, overcoming them, and riding the shit out of them through Los Angeles. No. There's not too many people that I know that can say they've done that. And then take those motorcycles, put them back in the trailer, get home, and then turn around and do it again.
We're going to ride in the Blue Ridge
There
Parkway.
you go. I mean, so the experience is by far the thing that I take away, regardless of all the other nonsense. I take that away by going, wow, man, that's something that I will always remember.
Look, Eric Christensen from Spectro comes in. He said people would pay $30,000.
Absolutely,
for that experience.
Absolutely. You could ride nuts to butts next to Brian Butera through the fucking LA traffic. They would pay $30,000 because if I could, I would have been the dude in the back going, "That looks really badass." But I was in the front going, "Come on, we got to go."
Xavier has drummed in front of the biggest crowds in the world. I've done stuff that's ridiculous that I wondered why I did it, and adrenaline stuff, all kinds of things, and nothing for either of us, I think, matched what the experience as a whole did, through that ride.
So Galveston in motion this year is going to be nothing for you guys.
Well, I wouldn't say that. I mean, listen, anytime you get on one of those things and you got to commit to something and get through it, point A to point Z, there's
a ride that has to be completed. It is just a
but
totally different ride.
But as far as I think that we don't have to dodge cars in LA with people who don't care. And there was some people who were literally veering into our lanes because they didn't like the fact that here comes 4 loud motorcycles going to blow by their window.
Listen, I have to tell you one time, and you know how crazy Bobby is.
Oh, Jesus.
One time I was in San Francisco with Bobby and like 2 or 3 other crazy ass sons of bitches that he run around with. We all pulled Indian Larry bikes out of the back of his truck and went riding in the hills of San Francisco. Now, I've ridden with Bobby in New York, in Brooklyn, and other parts of the country. In San Francisco, the shit that we did, I would still be in jail. If we did that in Pittsburgh, I would still be in jail to this day.
I believe it, because that boy is about a sandwich short of a picnic.
But you can't, I mean, in the moment, I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm doing that too.
Oh, yeah.
Yep,
yeah.
4 feet off the ground.
4 feet off the ground, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Guys were taking kickstands and hitting, potholes and just barreling through. And the coolest thing that I remember looking back at one point in my mirror, and Brian, his new build, the bars are like really skinny, and he's a big dude. So there was this big guy, these skinny bars, and there's 2 truck mirrors, and I'm like, oh my God, the bars are going to make it, but his shoulders aren't. And then sure enough, right through it. I'm like, okay, we're good. Shift into third, pass, run that red light. Here we go.
I was scared to lane split and do that in that kind of traffic and that kind of movement, and then you find yourself, you're shifting gears in between cars. You're like, like you said, you commit to it. You're like, all right,
gotta go.
I think I told myself more than once. I said, well, at least this will be a hell of a way to go out.
Heather, tell them how you got used to lane splitting.
So lane splitting for me was on our honeymoon.
Oh God!
On the Pearl,
the big dresser,
fully loaded with all of our gear that we had for
like
3
the Grinch,
weeks on the road.
I had it loaded up like the Grinch coming out of Whoville. I had all the presents,
So the only way I could do it.
You're like, come on, honey, we're going.
The only way I could do it is I was trying to get video footage, of course, but I could only do it watch through my camera.
Yeah, because anything other than that, you'd freak out. So I like to answer your question, Heather, as far as like the InMotion in Galveston, like having done LA,
So
I think we'll be okay. I hope.
InMotion this year is a little bit different. We do have. The ride's going to be almost 90 miles.
What? You better plan for gas station, sweetheart, because my little shitty tank ain't gonna.
Well, no,
we did this because we watched you guys go through all this. There's no lanes to split, so
that was just gas stations.
We got
how many days do we get?
The ride's almost 90 miles.
Right on.
You'll have like 4 checkpoints that you have to stop at.
But they're cool. One's a pirate bar.
Yeah, one's a pirate
Ooh,
bar.
I like pirates.
It's
so
fantastic.
There's going to be,
fantastic.
And everybody will have maps, but there are certain rules that we've instituted this year to change things up a little bit.
Right on.
It'll be a fun day. Instead of doing it like we did last year, it'll be a little more fun. But listen, I would be remiss if I did not do this. Brian Butera, you just won Golden Bolt and got a check for $30,000. What are you gonna do next?
Disneyland. I'm just not driving all the way back.
Yeah, no more driving.
But the tradition is Max Hazen won last year, and he bought a new swimming pool, and he put a picture up in his new pool, which was kind of a blow up plastic pool out back. So you got to keep the tradition, from what I understand, and I got to take a picture in my new pool when we get it out in the back patio.
I love it.
Right on.
I love it.
Awesome.
Our plastic pool from Kmart.
Yeah, the little one.
I may go all out and get a blow up. I don't know.
Well, let's talk for a minute. So you guys are here at the Cherokee Blue Ridge Run this weekend, competing for an opportunity to represent the United States. To win here is to get a trip to be a U.S. builder going overseas in the World Show.
Yeah.
What's that like?
I don't know.
Brian
Neither one of us have won yet. But
didn't Brian? You went last year, didn't you, Brian?
I've never competed in the AMDs.
Oh, okay. My bad.
It was kind of a different route. We did the Swiss Moto pick and went to the Swiss Moto show, and then that in turn was the custom show Emirates in Abu Dhabi. We went to that as well. So a little around the world, but a different path.
I mean, anybody who there's some serious machines in here tonight. So I mean, anybody who, regardless of who wins or who loses, getting the opportunity to represent the U.S. as a U.S. builder because we all know that there's builders around the world that are just ridiculous, is a super huge honor in itself, and you can stop there. Whether or not it leads to anything else, just being able to represent the United States of America as a U.S. builder is a huge thing, And I think whoever wins, is going to be absolutely, super lucky, man. Because that's just not a title that you throw around.
Anytime you can take your work to a world platform, that's in anything you do. It's a pretty amazing feat.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Too bad we're not going to Japan. I'm big in Japan, Just kidding. It's a joke. So yeah, it'll be cool, man. And there's like I said, there's some badass machines here. So
there really are. It's a good crowd.
You can always judge it by the company. So.
Well, listen, I appreciate both you guys coming by tonight. Xavier, tell everybody where to keep up with you and Providence Cycle.
Providence Cycle Works with an X.com, and a couple of more events throughout the year here. Doing the Bill Dodge Invitational. Brian's going to be there as well. And then we're doing the In Motion Cycle Source show in Galveston in November. Brian's going to be there as well. So it's kind of like being on tour. It's like a festival tour. It's the same band, bands. It's pretty rad.
I was going to bust you on that when you said, came back to the room, put our bags down, and we're out again. And I was like, no.
Yeah, no.
You had to actually go home.
Yeah, I had to go home.
Your stuff away.
Yeah, and it's different now because I don't have a bus driver or a tech or a tour manager. It's all me. And I was driving here, and I'm like, why the hell am I in my truck again for 16 hours? And I go, oh, yeah, Brian's doing the same thing coming the other direction. What am I doing? Yeah. That tour bus doesn't look so bad. But, I mean,
listen, I don't want to hear you bitch. Between this stop on the tour and the last stop on the tour, I changed the turbo in my truck. So.
Which I saw, which was badass, dude. Like, now you know how to do a turbo. I was like, I would have never done that. I said, just give me the bill. Let me pay the bill. So, yeah, that's my website, and I've got some other stuff that I'm working on as far as a new merch line coming out, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But for right now, man, I'm here. I'm enjoying this right here, right now, because I don't know about the future, and I don't want to know anymore.
Groovy. Brian, what's up with you? What's next? What are you going to do for number 3 now? Earlier, Kevin was saying that he caught you in conversation saying something about you really want to go after something different.
Yeah, I want to incorporate more, I think, push myself in an engineering side a little more. So whether that's a different style or incorporating something I haven't done before, I always want to push myself. So hopefully that, keeps my builds fresh and something different. But being at the Golden Bolt really inspired me on the side of engineering and what those guys are doing. So if I can kind of maybe figure out a way to blend the two, that's where I'm at, with kind of keep the chopper roots, but some engineering stuff that those other guys can appreciate maybe a little more than the simplicity of what we normally do.
Right on. Well, listen, it was great talking to both you guys. I really appreciate it.
Our pleasure, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We're so lucky that we're all hanging out here again for a great weekend. It looks like the weather's going to be great. We're going to be doing some riding and stuff here. Look forward to seeing what's happening, man. I mean, Saturday we're going to know what's up. We're going to know who's going to Worlds.
There's a lot of flash over there, and somebody's, somebody gets to have a big smile, and somebody gets to go home and go back to the drawing board.
Yeah, buddy.
But that's all right. Win or lose, man. I mean, we're here now. Doesn't matter.
Right on. All right, fellas. Well, thank you. Everyone at home, we're going to go through some events real quick here and probably let you loose for the night. On Saturday here, along with the Purewoods Paint Show, we'll be doing a ride-in custom bike show at the Cherokee Blue Ridge Run. Lots of great prizes from all our sponsors that you see on the screen right there. Don't forget these events coming up in short order. Willie's Chopper Time during Biketoberfest. We've been talking about it for weeks and weeks now, but the Tennessee Motorcycle Music Revival with the Bill Dodge BC Moto Invitational. Also, what is this? We're short time on this, but the York Bike Week event with Fuel, and we're doing a show out there with Kiefer. It's going to be short time till we're in on that. A few hometown events that we wanted to get on your radar, man. Like for us, there's a show in Pittsburgh coming up, Glory Days.
Yeah, it looks like they're putting together a really great show. with
Really,
that one.
and man, like at Cary Furnace, like I wanted to do an event at this place. I'm so jealous that these guys got this thing together because it's a beautiful, beautiful site for an event. We'll definitely be at that one way or another. Kiefer's thing, Willie's thing. I think I got it all.
Right
Oh,
on.
let's talk about this for 1 second. You guys want to check out a free copy of Cycle Source magazine? We're going to start doing this every month. When the magazine comes off the newsstand, we're going to make it available to everyone. Rather than try to sell our digital back issues or any shit like that, we're just going to give you the magazine. Once it's off the newsstand, everybody gets a copy of it. Right now, we have an estimated reach through Cycle Source and our partners of over 500,000 people that this month are getting the digital edition of Cycle Source.
That's pretty crazy.
And you know, like before people say anything about this, like, you know, why are we doing this? You know, there's so much good content that goes through this magazine. We already take every single story that ends up in the magazine and recycle it through our blog and through social media and everything, but we just want to expand into every channel that we can to possibly get all of those stories and all those great photos out. So we're doing the most with it that we can, and we're going to push it a little bit further this year.
Yeah, we're going to try. We're going to give it a go, and hopefully people dig it. And, you know, the digital issue, it's definitely not the same as having that magazine and being able to turn those pages in your hand. But it's going to come complete with hyperlinks, and if there's video to go along with an article, that will be there as well. So
You can
it's
share,
going to have some really
like
cool
if you see
assets.
a cool story on it, you can share it right out of it. So should be pretty cool, man. Did we lose Mark? Mark, you going to come close the show out with us or what? I want one more time. I want to thank our friends and sponsors over at Russ Brown. We're bringing Shop Talk to you live through the courtesy of the Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorney Studio every Sunday, starting next Sunday at 9 p.m. Sunday's our new day. We're going to stick with that one for a while and see how it goes. Looks like the numbers are stronger, and the public poll on that says that that's the day we should be doing it.
Definitely Sundays. So does that mean we're going to skip next Thursday and do Sunday?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Perfect. So that will be, just for all you fine folks that are still watching, our next show is going to be on Sunday the 15th at 9 p.m. Eastern.
Real quick, I would like to remind everybody for the rest of this weekend, we're doing a full complement of Grease and Gears Garage here. We have some of the coolest shit lined up for the stage here at the Cherokee Blue Ridge Run. All kind of stuff from Weldon stainless to basic tuning stuff, and lots of really, really good stuff's going to happen on this stage. So all you have to do is keep tuned to the Cycle Source Facebook page. You can pick up that feed. Mark, what do you got?
We get like a whole week off.
I'm sorry.
So we get like a whole week off.
For this.
Yeah.
I have other shit that we're going to do.
I quit. I've quit like 3 times today.
Right on, man. Can't quit. Can't quit. This is too good. We're lucky we get to do this stuff.
I'm sort of excited to do a little grease and gears here.
Yep.
I didn't really get to do a lot in Sturgis.
We do
too much running in Sturgis.
We do want to send out our best wishes to our usual suspect, man on the stage for Grease and Gears, Pat Jansen. He's
old burn ear.
Yeah, he had an injury to his ear, and he's going to be under the knife here, so he won't
Tomorrow,
be with us
yeah.
this weekend.
So everybody send some healing thoughts and good vibes to Mr. Jansen.
Next time you ask him a question, he says, "What?" He might not be kidding.
What?
Yeah.
What?
So.
All right, man. Well, listen, thank you guys again for letting us into your headspace and into your home. We will be, within the next week here, getting all of the podcast side of this updated. We'll get back on track with that. We got a little hitch in our giddy up that we had to get over with that, but we're pretty good now. So
right on. So
back into it.
Sunday, September 15th at 9 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah,
we'll be coming to you live.
I have an engagement that night.
Same chopper time.
Same chopper channel.
See ya.